And he comes up to me again and goes, "You look familiar." So he had met me exactly 3 seconds earlier.
Amazing.
Yeah,
That's
good.
That's
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
Well,
It
we
was
have a
like,
saying
you're
around
right.
here that we like to turn customers into fans, and those fans will be your sales force.
Exactly. Oh, wow. You had that.
Welcome to the Sensei Playbook, the ultimate how-to podcast for growing and amplifying your brand within the digital world's 3-second landscape. Join Bill Courtwright and Chris Snellgrove as they discuss the right tools and strategies for building the best online marketing strategy for your business. Tune into leading business leaders who share information and impart inspiration on providing smooth customer experience and successfully scaling your venture. This is your chance to achieve rapid growth in the highly competitive online market. Let's get this episode started with your hosts, Bill and Chris.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Sensei Playbook podcast, marketing strategy for you to do less and make more. We are thrilled, Chris Snellgrove and myself, Bill Courtwright, to have the esteemed guest, Mr. Bernard Smalls. He is the corporate trainer for the Ken Blanchard Group, serving automotive dealerships all over the country. And we are going to be thoroughly entertained and enlightened by the inspiration and influence that this gentleman has for us today. I'd like at this point to introduce my partner, Chris Snellgrove, who's going to further introduce Mr. Smalls.
Welcome, Bernard.
Welcome, Chris. Good to be here.
How long have we known each other now?
It's about 21, 22 years back in the early Toyota Mall of Georgia days.
That's right. That's right. I remember when that store opened and we met you guys. I remember the Southeastern Toyota president. What was his name?
John Williams.
John Williams, and he worked for, what was the gentleman that was the legend in the Toyota industry?
Jim Moran, the
Jim
late
Moran.
great Jim Moran. Yeah, I was one of the original employees. I don't know if I told you that, but I was in pre-owned sales. I had just gone through the Blanchard training, and I was going to sell cars until training launch. So I was there for the whole 10 years pretty much until they sold it.
I was in the store for that grand opening, and when
Oh,
yeah, do you remember that?
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
vividly.
So yeah, when he walked in, it was like the Pope walking in, and it was something else. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Moran walked in. By the way, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he described you. He said, "You remember him? He's that handsome guy that was with, I think he said Auto Trader or something back in the day." And your image just shot into my mind. And then when we met on Zoom, I said, "Yeah, I know you."
That's awesome.
Years ago.
That's awesome. Well, when Jim Moran walked into that store, and it was very crowded, and it was a big deal, but he's making his way through the crowd, and I had shown up to take pictures just for PR. And so he's walking up and he's got close to me. I took a few pictures, and then I back up to the crowd to take more pictures. And he comes up to me again and goes, "You look familiar." So he had met me exactly 3 seconds earlier.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. It was like, you're right. When he walked in there, the air left the room, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to a lot of things like that, but he had helped raise and train John in business, and they were real close.
Yeah, really close.
Yeah.
That was an incredible mentor for John Williams to have.
Absolutely.
So well, we're so grateful that you're here today to speak with us and to share some of your words of wisdom and stories that you and I've had together. So what first attracted you to the automotive industry, Bernard?
Well, that's an interesting story. When I was 10 years old, I started playing the drums. And to fast forward, when I was 17, 18, we opened for the Commodores. Lionel Richie was still with them. We were backstage with these guys. And they had a potential connection with Motown. They were a Motown band. They hooked us up. Next thing you know, I went from Charleston, South Carolina to Oakland, California with a potential Motown connection. The gig fell apart because some guys got too high, too drunk at a party one night and started boasting and bragging. So the Motown guy said, "I'll tell you what, we're sending you guys to Alaska, and then you're on your own." Next thing you know, I'm on my first airplane flight to Anchorage, Alaska. We landed there, played for about 6 weeks, and then Motown just basically washed their hands and let us go. But while I was in the club, I met my wife, and I'm still married to her. I ended up getting married.
Wow.
of course, pregnant with our first child. And then she said, Bernard, you got to get a real job. This music thing's not happening. And I went to work for the car dealership. That was my entry into the car dealership. By the way, it was washing cars. First job was washing cars.
And where was that, in Alaska?
Anchorage, Alaska. Yeah, Alaska Sales and Service. They recently sold the place. They were just up there. They've been there since the 40s, but they sold it recently. Anchorage, Alaska, yes.
Well, I'll tell you, we've heard a lot of interesting stories on how people have got started, but that one takes the cake.
Yeah, it's a weird story. Most people, when they hear it, they think I went to Alaska. You must have been military. No, playing with a funk band, R&B.
The Commodores, huh? That
Yeah,
is
Commodores. Yeah,
incredible. Wow.
brick house guys.
Very cool. Very cool. I had no idea you played the drums. Do you still play?
Yeah, I still do. In fact, I look forward to having more free time so I can play more. That's one of my goals. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
love music. Enjoy jazz, smooth jazz especially.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about the company you work with now, the Seam Auto Group.
Okay, good. SEAM is Sean Esfahani Automotive Marketing. And I met Mr. Esfahani, or Mr. E, as we affectionately call him, back at Toyota Mall of Georgia. He was the general manager / partner with John Williams. And after being in sales for about 3 months, we were in a sales meeting one morning, and a gentleman named Rusty Gentry, who was our general manager. I don't know if you remember Rusty.
Rusty,
He was
well.
GM and eventually GSM, and eventually GM. But anyway, in a meeting, he said, we want to create raving fans. Now I'm sitting there, a used car salesman, and I raised my hand and I said, what do you know about raving fans? He said, well, that's what we want to do. They're happy customers. I said, by the way, I'm a Blanchard trained trainer, and I've been trained in raving fans. He said, after the meeting, we need to talk. So he pulled me into his office. We talked. Next thing you know, he introduces me to Sean, Mr. Esfahani, and Mr. E says, okay, put together a training program for our salespeople. We're looking for a corporate trainer. Well, we put together a program. About 9 of the guys became studs, and my career was launched.
Wow.
And all these years later, I'm still training after one successful training class.
That's awesome. Were you responsible for the wall? I remember when you first walk in, the side door, not the main entrance, but the side door, there was a wall of raving fans.
Yep, absolutely. In
Yep.
fact,
There it is.
I keep it right here. I have the book right here. And we came up with this idea that since we have raving fans, let's post kind of what you're doing with your company with the reviews. I thought back on that, but we had letters all on the wall, and we had raving fans up there, building relationships. We believe that taking care of customers is the key to success, because the customer becomes a part of your marketing strategy because of the power of word of mouth. So Mr. Esfahani here at SEAM definitely believes that. And he's hired me full-time to come and help build the culture. We call it culture of excellence. And right now I have 20 managers reading this book, Raving Fans.
And that is, I was going to ask the premise of the book for those who didn't know. It is creating a marketing machine out of your existing customer base.
Exactly. Because, well, the hardest sale is typically the first sale, because once you've made that sale, if they come back again, repeat and referral business then drives the business. And Mr. Esfahani believes that's the engine. So taking care of our customers, having an impeccable reputation in the community, we strive for that. And everything is based on the Raving Fans concept. We have a few other customer service books, but by the way, a little company named Chick-fil-A is based on this book as well.
Well, and interesting enough, when we started out in really 2014, we started playing in the digital space. We came from print media, as you know, Auto Trader, Car Smarts.
Yeah.
But when we started getting into the digital space, and we identified one of the key needs in the automotive space back then was reputation management and social media. And so we said, how can we satisfy helping car dealers out in both of these areas? There was a lot of companies in the automotive industry helping out with reputation management, but really not combining both of them. And so when we asked ourselves, how can we stand out and serve our clients who were primarily car dealers back then. It was, okay, let's combine marketing with reputation and create reputation marketing. And we call it next level reputation management because it takes the reviews and creates marketing assets out of them and uses reviews to really build trust using the voice of the happy customer. So it's really the same premise of Raving Fans. It's creating raving fans from your reviews.
That's brilliant, because Raving Fans is all about the customer being the raving fan. It's not about the company talking about how great we are, because you're right. Trust is the major factor, because people trust word of mouth. I tell dealers all the time, all your marketing, all your advertising, TV, people trust word of mouth more than anything. And that's basically common sense. So we have built a business around that. Even though we believe in marketing, Mr. Esfahani has spent a lot of money on TV, radio, and but he believes the foundation is the happy customer that tells other people. Raving Fans is based on customers bragging about how they're treated. And I know you know that, but when they start bragging about you at the barbershop, at church, or wherever they go, then we're busy. We are extremely busy here. We had a record month last month. I don't know if you know that. Record new car month, beat the all-time record of the store since 2008 when we opened.
New and used, you got over what? How many?
530.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
In Daphne, Alabama. That is incredible.
While other people are on strike, and we're in Daphne, Alabama. The month before, Mr. Esfahani said we beat every store in Atlanta but one, and we're in Daphne, Alabama.
Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your success.
But a big part of it, again, goes back to the Raving Fans. And I have a book I put together myself I call Ideal Customer Service. And it's based on having the right vision, the right people, and the right systems. And it's based on the Raving Fans philosophy. So we're constantly training. We just put together a training book on how to wow customers. And I noticed you use that phrase a little bit, Chris, how to wow our customers, and required all the managers to read that. So some of them they're kicking and dragging, but we're saying, you're going to read these books.
So if you don't mind, give us a few examples on how to wow the customer, because that's important today. The companies that are doing it are excelling, and the companies that aren't are missing out.
Yeah. Chris, it comes down to basics like personality. And when I first started training this stuff, I had like a segment of the book, 12 Keys to Being a Sales Professional. And we dealt with things like your smile, your handshake, your tone of voice, and your body language. And a lot of guys in the car business said, man, you're going to go broke trying to train car guys to do this stuff. And some of them literally said that. One said that to me, and he ended up coming to me looking for a job one day. I said, okay. But we believe that customer kindness and personality, people skills, it's kind of like Chick-fil-A. How do you feel when you go to Chick-fil-A? No problem. My pleasure. I'll get right on that. And that's what's missing today. I was just reading a couple of reviews earlier where the lady said one of our salespersons was a little bit coarse, rude, and treating her like she couldn't buy a car. He was talking to the husband instead of the wife when the wife was buying a car. So we train people on how to honor people and serve people. It's all about serving. And one guy wrote a book years ago, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He said, imagine that everyone has MMFI written on their forehead, make me feel important. So it's all about just making people feel important that are spending all this money to buy these cars.
It's the second largest investment people make, probably behind a home.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Right. I'm actually in my office at the dealership today, and Mr. E has me walking around talking to customers, seeing how they feel about how they're being treated. And a lot of people say, yeah, but that's a lot. He's paying you, I'm sure. Yeah, but the rewards are tremendous. And when I'm talking to people, I'm looking them in the eye and letting them know that basically we care. We're here to take care of you.
Yeah, and people feel that. That's huge.
Yeah. And there are a lot of practical steps to it, such as dealing with complaints. Most companies drop the ball there. when it's a heat case, everyone avoids them. We say a heat case is an opportunity to be a hero. A heat case is when a customer is angry. Because when you solve their problems, the numbers say 95 to 97% of them will come back to you again and again and be a loyal customer if you help them solve a difficult problem. So, you know that, Chris. I was looking at some of your material and I'm impressed with the Reputation Sensei stuff about taking care of customers and trust and all that.
Yeah, there's a saying, if you don't take care of the customer, somebody else will, and that somebody else is your competition. Right?
Exactly. Henry Ford said years ago, if we are not customer driven, nor will our cars be.
That's
That's
good.
awesome.
Good.
That is good. Well,
And,
we have a saying around here that we like to turn customers into fans, and those fans will be your sales force.
Exactly. Oh, wow. You had that. That just before we came on, I was thinking about that. The customer becoming a part of your marketing strategy. See, in Raving Fans, there are 3 secrets. Have a vision, decide what you want. Number 2, the marketing secret, Ken Blanchard calls it, discover what the customer wants. Then number 3 is deliver +1. Always go the extra mile. Always do more than you promise. And most companies today aren't even delivering what they promised and wonder why they're losing customers. But when you do those 3 things, the customer becomes a part of your sales and marketing team because they're out in the community or wherever they are talking good about you.
Promoting
It
you.
works.
That's right.
Yeah. And you feel that when you walk into a Chick-fil-A, you feel it. When you walk into a McDonald's or, some other fast food restaurants, you see people that are there just earning a paycheck, but they're there because they have to be there. They don't want to be
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, they don't want to be there. Like Chick-fil-A, they're smiling, they're greeting you, they're happy, they're talking. I mean, it's you feel that energy. And when you walk into your store, I've been there. I mean, it's like one of the best sales meetings I've ever been in was at your store. And
Yeah.
it was energizing, and it was a Monday morning, and it was just, I mean, and I opened up with, hey, I get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly because I travel around to other dealerships. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, and I pointed to the Raving Fans on the wall. I said, Raving Fans is part of y'all's culture here, and you guys get it. And it's just exciting.
Yeah, it's a part of the culture. Speaking of Chick-fil-A, when I first met Ken Blanchard, who wrote Raving Fans, he said, we're going to go pick someone up. We jumped in a van, and the guy driving the van, I didn't know, he said, by the way, this is Dan Cathy. And I said, Cathy, wow, that Mr. Truett Cathy is the owner of Chick-fil-A. And Dan said, yeah, I'm his son. So he said, we're going to go to the Dwarf House. And I didn't know about the Dwarf House at that time and pick up my dad. And I said, Mr. Cathy? Yeah. So we pull up, pick up Truett Cathy. He comes out with a suit, tie on, all dressed, cows in his pocket. Remember giving out the little eat more chicken cows. He jumps in. And I'm in a van with Dan and Truett Cathy. Then we go to the Ritz-Carlton to meet the president of Coca-Cola and Mr. Horst Schultz, who wrote an excellent book on excellence. And they were all talking about customer service that whole night. And then we went from there to Chick-fil-A and had a week of training on Raving Fans. And Truett Cathy was in every meeting all day long. And that launched a lot of what they're doing now. That was back in the late 90s. We were talking about Raving Fans. So we're connected.
That had to be the mecca of customer and guest experience. And that,
Yeah, I was pitching myself.
Wow, that's incredible. That had to be exciting. Have you read Jeff Henderson's book, For? Know What You're For?
No, I've never read it.
You would love that one because he worked at Chick-fil-A under Dan. He worked under Truett in the marketing department. And then Andy Stanley recruited him, and he went to North Point Church, and then he opened up Buckhead Church, and then they had him open up Gwinnett Church, and most recently he was recruited by who's the John Maxwell.
John Maxwell. Wow.
John Maxwell grabbed it. Now he works directly under John Maxwell. So that book is very interesting, not only in terms of customer service, but also social media. He says
so the book is 4, number 4.
It's let me see, right here.
FOR. Yeah.
Okay, 4, FOR. Okay,
Know What
good.
You're For. Yep.
Wow.
So he always asks two questions that I've implemented, incorporated into every into every interview that we do. And the two questions are, what do you want to be known for? And then have the person answer. And then the follow-up question is, what are you known for? So he says, when you close the gap for what you want to be known for and what you are known for, that's when true magic happens.
That is outstanding. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen on some of Andy Stanley's signs for Gwinnett.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I understand a little bit. No, I'll get that book. I'd love to read it.
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
His insight into social media is very enlightening, because he said that instead of companies wanting people to be fans of them, he said, as a company, you should be fans of your customers.
Hmm.
And he described a scenario where he goes,
Wow.
like, if you're in the marketing department at Home Depot, and you go into one of your profiles of your fans and see that the person's getting married, and just comment or congratulate that person that's getting married. He said that person, when they buy a house down the road and they're driving up the road, that's going to make such an impact, because later, whenever they buy a house and they're driving up the road, there's a Home Depot on the left and a Lowe's on the right. Which one are they going to choose? Right?
Yeah.
Home Depot.
Well, that goes back to old Joe Girard's way of keeping the 3x5 cards. I'm sure you've heard his story. And he would say, always write down personal things about the customer, like anniversary, birthday, or the fact that they like Corvettes or whatever.
That's right.
And then just send them little notes or reminders that I saw a Corvette today and it reminded me of you. And, you know, that's how he built that great base. But then this other gentleman came along and blasted his record, I heard.
Oh, yeah.
The world's
Ali
greatest salesman.
Ali Rita just broke his record with 1,560 sold car deals in 1 year. Broke the Guinness Book World Record. Yeah,
I didn't think anyone would ever break that record.
Gerard was not happy about that one.
No, I heard. That's what I heard.
He's still challenging it.
Yeah. But the fact that if you're for your customers, making your fan,
Yeah.
your customers love you, that's what we endeavor to do here. And it's work. It's a challenge, because getting, especially car guys, to think, you know, we want to take people's head off and make all this money. But anyway.
Well, tell us about your title, CPO. What is that?
Chief People Officer.
That's awesome.
All right. That's one that I'll give Ken Blanchard a little credit. I learned it from him. He's real out of the box. He was saying one day, instead of CEO and all these titles, let's come up with some new depictions. He said, so I'm going to be the chief spiritual officer, which he is, chief spiritual officer of his company. If you get to know Ken, he's a very spiritual guy, but he's real practical. And he's good friends with John Maxwell and a lot of the people. I can call some names here that he's introduced me to, Rick Warren and other people like that. So with chief spiritual officer, I started thinking mine is more about people. And here's why. I'm really passionate about the people. I really believe that Raving Fans starts with taking care of your people. And that's why I get into it even with owners some, because if you don't have gung-ho people, you're not going to have Raving Fan customers. If you don't empower your people, they won't serve your customers. So Chief People Officer, I'm here for the people and the advocate of the people, and the team members are the most important people here. A guy wrote a book years ago called The Customer is Always Second. And a lot of people got upset and they said, the customer has got to be first. He said, no, people are first, my people, because they serve the customer, and then the customer is second. So
wow,
that's my Reader's Digest version of the CPO.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, your number one asset is your people, and you better take care of them.
Yeah. Yeah, some people differ with that. Telling you, with some of these car guys, I've had some interesting conversations around that one. Without people, you get, you know, anyway, I'll leave that alone. I work with owners at whatever level of thinking and do my best to bring it to the table. But I've frankly met some that says, nope, this is first. Bottom line is we got to make money. Well, we believe it's a triple bottom line. It's gung-ho people, raving fan customers, then profitability.
Mm.
And anyway,
Yep.
I'm enjoying this.
How do you define success?
Success, one of my mentors is a man by the name of Peter J. Daniels. He's 91 years of age. He's an Australian entrepreneur. And here's what he says. Success is the willingness to bear pain. Success is the willingness to pay the price. And a lot of people say, well, I don't believe there's a price for success, but success is an exchange of planting a seed, growing it, watering it, building a business, and then getting a result. So I believe it's the willingness to bear pain, not be a pain.
That's good.
Very well said. It reminds me of the Zig Ziglar story when he talks about paying the price to getting in shape. He said, I never paid the price for the running. I paid the price for not being in shape. And
Exactly.
now that I'm in shape, I don't ever feel pain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Ziegler was one that had some very interesting comments about that. But in customer service, the pain is the serving of the guest. And the success is, Ken Blanchard says this, and one guy told me the other day, you seem to quote a lot of people. Yeah, I listen to people that are a lot smarter than I am. He said, profit is the applause you get for taking care of your customers and creating a motivating environment for your people. So he says, profit is the byproduct. The success is the byproduct of taking care of your people, taking care of your customers. That's why this reputation Sensei thing is so important. And that's not a political statement. I mean, I'm looking at your stuff thinking, I love it. And the fact that you're tying it to social media, because I'm heavy into social media as well. Facebook, I have 5,000 friends, and it's always up to the limit. And then I have another site with over 42,000 followers. Wow. And I endeavor to create value for them, and they tell other people about it. So
what is that, your fan page, the 42,000?
The 42,000. In my other life, I am a spiritual individual that teach the Bible, and I don't want to go deeply into that, but it's called Prevailing Word Pavilion on Facebook. Prevailing Word Pavilion. And prevailing word is a scriptural Acts 19:20, so mightily grew God's word and prevailed. So on there, most of my fans are international, like India and Pakistan. They're just joining left and right. But now it's over 42,000 fans and growing every day.
Wow,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and started out with just me posting positive spirituality. I believe in the power of affirmations, the power of your vision and your imagination. And when I say spirituality, I'm not talking religion. I believe in my faith, but I believe we can use our vision and our faith to succeed and make things happen.
That's right. Without getting too political, what do you think part of like what's going on today with, everything in crisis is because people have moved away from their spirituality?
Brother, if I had an hour. Yeah, I believe we're seeing the symptoms of bad seed, poor choices. We're seeing what's called the manifestation of, the Indians call it karma. You can call it whatever you want. The Bible calls it sowing and reaping. And I believe that some of what we're seeing, it's going to take a deeper solution than politics. There's a deeper answer, and I believe we know that. Yeah, I believe that 100%. So I'm praying daily, especially for this country, for our leaders, and now for the world. Look at the stuff happening in Israel, man.
It's indeed scary. It really is.
Yeah.
So out of all the thought leaders and inspirational people that you've met, who's one of your who do you seek out on a regular basis for inspiration? The authors.
My favorite would have to be Mr. Peter J. Daniels. Now, I really like Ken Blanchard from the business side and the organizational side. I've learned so much. In fact, I spent 2 weeks in his home in California, and this man is very successful. But Peter J. Daniels has a third grade education, and at 25, he went to a Billy Graham crusade, and it changed his life. And he started teaching entrepreneurship. And a lot of Americans don't know about this guy. But man, he has a program called Destiny in the Third Millennium that makes you get your vision, your goals, your dream, and all put together in such a practical way that it's creating millionaires all over the country. He's now 91 years of age, and but his materials are out there. It's Peter J. Daniels, and he's in fact he endorsed one of my books about customer service.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's from, you said, where's he from? Australia?
Adelaide, Australia.
Wow.
Peter J. Daniels.
I have to look him up.
And his materials, you know what he did? He went to over 1,300 nonprofit or churches, paid his own way, and did business seminars to help believers to learn how to make money.
Wow.
He said it's the call to wealth. He has some really different concepts, and some people think he's off the wall, but this guy is very accurate. And I followed him since about 1993 when I heard of him, and I met him personally, spent a few days with him, and so forth. But Peter J. Daniels.
Wow.
And again, he's 91 now. He's retired. He's at home in Australia.
Very cool. I'm gonna check it out.
We have dropped some names on this episode, Chris. We have gone through Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, Jeff Henderson, Ken Blanchard, Zig Ziglar, John Maxwell, Peter Daniels. This is a literal who's who of personal and professional development. So for those of you having a chance to listen or watch this podcast, hopefully you've got a half a page of notes, because just in the wisdom and nuggets that Bernard has given us, it is a literal how-to to bridge the gap between where you are and where you ultimately want to go. So on behalf of myself and our audience, I first want to just express sincere gratitude for Mr. Smalls for gracing us with his presence. The information, inspiration, and no doubt influence has been felt by this young buck. And I can't wait to go out and learn about Peter Daniels. So thank you. But before we go, and I'll let Chris have the last word, is there anything else on the forefront of your mind by way of books, podcasts, teachings, readings, anything in addition to Mr. Daniels that you think our leaders and listeners and viewers, specifically in the car business, should tune into right away?
Yeah, very good. Very good thought. I have recently, Mr. Daniels reached out to me and his son and asked me if I would work with them on his materials in America, because this guy has a real goal to change the world. And he said, we're going to do it by good business people being in business. He said, too many of the wrong people are using the right methods. So to make a long story short, he put together this program called Destiny, and it's designed to teach you how to go into business the ethical way and win and make all the money. He's not against making the money, but he's all about making it the right way. And he talks about honor, truth, service, and many of these concepts. And Destiny of the Third Millennium is the material I'd highly recommend. And it includes all of his books. He has books on goals, on motivation, and on dreams, and basically living your destiny. And to wrap it up, that's kind of what I am about. Mr. Esfahani, who owns a place here and has been very successful, says, man, if we cut you open, this motivational wisdom flows out of you because you're always quoting people. And I said, yeah, it's hard when I'm with my wife sometimes. And she's like, stop quoting people. We're at dinner. But again, Peter Daniels, he's the creme de la creme, I believe. That he quotes a lot of people like Napoleon Hill, W. Clement Stone, who the success man of positive mental attitude in the past, and people like that. I believe we stand on the shoulders of giants. So you can reach out to me. I have a website, centerforiam.com, and most of my stuff is there. Center,
I love it.
CENTRE for IAM.com.
I am.
Oh,
Okay.
that's wonderful.
Or
Thank you so
LinkedIn,
much.
you can hook up there. Okay, thank you. Hopefully I didn't talk too much.
No, Bernard, this was awesome. Love
Okay.
talking about success and personal development, and your stories are always very inspirational. So thank you so much for your time.
Humbly, I thank you too, Chris. Thanks for
That's all for this episode of the Sensei Playbook. May these strategies help you build a powerful business roadmap and dominate the online marketplace right now. Be sure not to miss another episode jam-packed with valuable advice from our marketing martial artists, Bill and Chris, by subscribing to the podcast at podcast.reputationsensei.com. Don't forget to share with your friends and fellow entrepreneurs who also aspire for massive business success. Thank you for listening. Until next time.